Good morning.
Hey guys, we are back at it. We got another live video coming at you. So we're excited to be here for Easter weekend.
Yes, we're going to be talking about Easter nutrition tips. So, how to keep you healthy throughout the holidays.
That's right. So, I'm not sure where to start. What did we do the last show?
Oh, we just finished our series, I believe, didn't we? Of challenging meals.
We did.
We just finished those series. Last week, did we do something different? I can't even remember.
We did breakfast.
If you're listening and you know, let us know what we did last week.
We did breakfast. We did most challenging meals: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. So we have all those loaded up on the Facebook page here, so you can go back and check those out if you like. And we can also put the links in below. So we would love to know what you guys are doing for Easter weekend.
Yeah, let us know. So if you pop in here and you're tuning in, let us know you're here. And if you have any questions about how to stay healthy or how to stay on track throughout this weekend, just let us know.
Yeah, it'd be great to hear from you. So, Dorothy, where are we going to get started?
Oh boy. Should we talk about holidays in general to start with?
Sure.
And how it's important to stay on track?
Yeah.
Because there's always something.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that, there's always something. It's Easter. What was before Easter?
We have
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day, and then before that is Valentine's Day, then before that is New Year's, then before that's Christmas, and then before that's Halloween, then before that is Thanksgiving, and then summer. And oh my gosh, it just doesn't end. It never ends. So we always say when people are like, I'm just going to wait till after Christmas to start a program. I'm just going to wait till after this holiday to start a program. We're like, they're just start now.
Because that really is. We say there's no better time than now, but it's true, because if we wait till the next, till after birthdays, till after holidays, till after special events, it's never going to happen. So we need to take action now. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
That's right. We see there's a couple people tuning in here. If you're listening, let us know you're here and we can say hi. We're talking about Easter weekend nutrition tips, and we're going to help you stay on track this holiday weekend. So I think the biggest thing around any holiday...
Squish over here a bit.
Hello. Oh, okay.
Just squish over just a bit. I'm just setting up Instagram Live here. So
okay.
Facebookers, if you want to check us out on Instagram, we're also on Instagram. That's just Drew Tadia. That's what we use for a business account. So
yes. So as I was saying, before you interrupted me.
Rudely interrupted.
I was saying that any holiday, the biggest challenge is going to be refined sugar, for sure. Like staying away from those treats and snacks, because there's always those things at any holiday, whether it's Valentine's Day, whether it's Christmas, whether it's Easter, there's always chocolates and treats and candies.
Oh my gosh.
And we always talk about, Drew and I always talk about how it's not about cutting everything out completely. For example, I can never have chocolate again, ever. It's about finding a better alternative or a better solution. So, for example, a nice one for chocolates, because Easter has so many chocolates, a nice alternative is some raw chocolate. And usually when I tell people, you can make your own raw chocolate, they think that it's a big process to make your own chocolate, or it's really hard to make your own chocolate, but it's really not. It's simple. You only need a few ingredients. It's quick, it's easy, and it tastes delicious. Guaranteed you won't even want that sugary other chocolates.
We should have done a demo here. Maybe next time we'll have to do a demo.
Yes.
Dorothy's we've done these at certain different workshops throughout the community. When we do our events, we usually do once a month, one event a month. Hey.
Hi.
Jump in whenever I stop.
Okay. I thought he was going to have some more to say about our events. So each event is usually a different topic, a different theme. We rarely do the same topic twice. But at Valentine's Day, we decided to do a raw chocolate event because, again, Valentine's Day is surrounded by chocolates, refined sugar, treats. And we had such a good response from that some people are like, are you doing another chocolate event? And we didn't do a whole new chocolate event, but we incorporated a raw chocolate demo into our St. Patrick's Day event, which was surrounded with everything green and how to detox with green. So the demos are, I think, when I do demo the chocolate, everybody is so surprised at how easy it is.
Right.
We always get those comments, wow, I didn't know it was so easy. So you only need 3 ingredients. That's it to make your own chocolate. You need cacao butter, you need cacao powder, and you need maple syrup, all of which could be found at a health food store locally in your town. So a lot of people ask, where do I get cacao butter? And most health food stores should carry the cacao butter. Cacao powder is more easily found these days at grocery stores. So check in the healthy food section at your grocery store. They should have cacao butter. Don't get confused with cocoa butter, though.
Yeah.
Cocoa butter is not a health product. It is mass-produced.
Like Nestle Quick?
Yes. So cocoa powder you'll find in your baking aisle of your grocery store. And it is, it's easier, I guess, to explain the difference by starting with cacao powder. So cacao powder is just the cacao bean, and it's, I guess, ground up into a powder. And it's raw. So make sure on the package it says raw. There could be some that aren't raw. So it's raw. That means there's no heating. They don't destroy any of the nutrients when they're processing it into the powder. So that's it. That's it. One ingredient. If you take a look at the back of the cocoa powder, it has all kinds of stuff. So from that stage, they take the powder, they heat it, so strips of all the wonderful nutritional benefits that cacao has to offer. So all of those nutrients are stripped when in the heating process. Then they add in refined sugar lots of times, milk ingredients, soy ingredients, because by adding those cheaper ingredients, it makes it bigger quantity so that they can sell more.
Yeah, it makes it last longer.
Yes.
Mandy just jumped in here and she said, hi guys, happy Easter.
Hi.
Happy Easter, Mandy.
Hi, Mandy.
So, yeah.
Thanks for saying hi.
Yeah, if you guys are tuning in, let us know you're here because we can't exactly see who's in watching us. So let us know so we can say hi. And it's always nice to see who's checking us out in the morning.
Yeah, I was just explaining my hot chocolate, how easy it is to make. So you need the cacao butter, you need the cacao powder, and you need a maple syrup. And then all there is to it is really a melt. So you melt the butter, and then you whisk in the powder and the maple syrup. Then you pour it out onto a tray with some parchment paper, and then you get to dress it up. You can leave it plain, but you can dress it up with nuts, seeds, dried fruit, peanut butter, coconut. You get to dress it up however you want, and then you let it freeze. And it freezes in a big, like a big chunk, I guess you'd say, or slate. And then once it's all frozen, you chop it up. We do have a recipe, I think Drew is pulling up here, if he can. So on our blog, on trueformlife.com, you can search or go to our recipes tab and find raw chocolate. And it's so easy. We give all kinds of suggestions there on how to dress it up. So that's a great alternative this Easter to stay away from the other chocolates, I guess, like the milk chocolates and all of that.
Yeah, and that's the biggest issue, I suppose. So if you're hosting, try not to bring out all the candies and all the chocolates. Like it's so challenging, especially for people that are trying to live a healthy lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the number one. When you have a whole table full of unhealthy treats and snacks, it's pretty difficult to stay on track. So maybe if you're hosting, try to be conscious of that for other people, like mini eggs that Mandy's talking about here. So I think that's the first thing for me. But Dorothy brings up a good point. So if you have the opportunity to host or even to bring something with you, bring a little box of raw chocolate. Because while everyone else is snacking on mini eggs, Mandy, then maybe you can enjoy. You don't feel left out, and you still get your chocolate or sweet kick.
Your fix. And can you imagine chocolate that's actually providing health benefits for you? It's pretty awesome.
Okay, I'm going to pull up our page here. Just let me flip this around. And okay, so this is, let me make sure we're front and center. Oh, that's Max. Sometimes he likes to be on camera too. Max, that's enough. Okay, so I'm going to show you the trueformlife.com/raw chocolate recipe. So if you're on Instagram, you're not able to see this, but we're on Facebook. So facebook.com/trueformlife, and we're showing the exact recipe. So all you do is scroll through. Dorothy has a nice little explanation here. Raw chocolate recipe. Yes, that is her.
And then I explained in detail, I was explaining earlier the difference between cacao powder and cocoa powder, and I have that all written out, so if you want to go back and take a read through that. And then the 3 ingredients. The recipe says honey. You can use honey as well, but or maple syrup. I said maple syrup, but those can be interchanged.
This is what
cacao butter.
Thank you. This is what cacao butter looks like, and it's raw as well.
So when you're melting it, you'll want to melt it in a crock pot or slow cooker, some people call it, so that it doesn't get too hot. It needs to be melted really, really low heat.
And this is what the final product looks like. So, Dorothy, what do you have there? Hemp seeds?
So there is some pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, and almonds, it looks like. But there, if you go back up, Drew, there is, just keep going, I'll show you before this. In here, dress it up, in that section, we have all kinds of different ideas for you. So crushed candy canes, Christmas special, hemp seeds, dried cranberries go well together, crushed almonds and coconut flakes go well together. So we have all kinds of different suggestions for you. If you like a little heat, you can add a little pinch of cayenne pepper, and little pinch is all you need. If you like the crunch in chocolate, you could add some puffed quinoa. That's very nice. And then, yeah, there's all kinds of different suggestions. After you dress it up, like Drew showed you, you just let it freeze. And then once it's done freezing and it's hardened, you break it up.
So Greg just popped in here. Good morning, Greg.
Hello.
Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed your little Mexico trip. Arriba!
I knew you were going to do that.
Okay, I'm going to come back here to...
Oh, and Darlene's in here too. Good morning and happy Easter, she says.
Good morning, Darlene.
Good morning, Darlene. Darlene's in our 21-day challenge right now, CTP challenge. Rocking it.
Fantastic. So is Mandy.
So is Mandy, yes.
And Darlene had this really cool picture. Darlene, I didn't get a chance to thank you because there's so much going on in our group. But Darlene took this really cool picture of our book, Detoxify Yourself, and then next to her meals. So this week,
thank you, Darlene.
Yeah, I should have had the picture up here, but yeah, so cool. Thanks, Darlene, for bringing some life to Detoxify Yourself and our group as well.
Yes.
So today we're just talking about how to stay healthy during Easter. And it's Easter weekend at this time, and I think we offer some other tips as well to stay healthy during the holiday seasons. If you get a chance to watch this video at a later date, the recording, I should say. But we have Louise in here as well. Louise said good morning.
Hi, Louise.
Good morning, Louise.
Louise is in our monthly membership and also is in our 21-day challenge this month. So
that's right. Louise is awesome. Been with us for a long time. Thanks for your support, Louise.
Yes. So we just finished talking about raw chocolate and how it's a great alternative to the chocolate with refined sugar in it. So that's a great tip for Easter and how to stay on track, how to stay healthy over the holidays. I think we should get into, Drew, talking a little bit about traveling, because a lot of us travel to families. So how can we be more prepared or more stay healthy when we've got a long drive ahead of us or we're traveling through airports or whatever it might be?
Yeah, I think it all begins with planning ahead. And there's no real way around not planning.
You can't get out of it.
So when you know you're traveling, like, we have to prepare. Like, I think if you're traveling at maybe a short distance, sometimes we don't eat. So that's got to be my first step, is to say you have to eat in the morning, like you have to have your breakfast. And many times we're like, we know we're going to have a big meal. We're excited to get to family. And even we're like rushing out of the house, we're getting the kids packed, and we forget to eat. Or we don't plan to eat, I should say. And by planning to eat, it kind of sets your day up for success. So it increases your metabolism, makes you feel better. We're not so emotional, like hangry.
I don't know who would get emotional if I'm not eating. No, sure.
I think we all tend to get a little emotional at times when we don't have food in our system.
Well, I was just going to say, one thing we hear often is, well, you know, I know a big meal's coming, so I have to save up. Right? Like, I can't eat because a big meal's coming, so I have to save up. But it's actually, it's not doing our bodies any good by fasting, for example, and then eating a gigantic meal. You're going to run into major digestion issues, and that's why a lot of times after a big meal, we lay on the couch in pain. Oh my gosh, right? Bloated and crampy, is because we fasted and then just put an enormous amount of food into our body.
Yeah, well, I think Easter, I've been to Easter gatherings where you get up and you have a big meal, or maybe late morning there's a big meal, and everybody kind of lays around, kind of like Thanksgiving. Sometimes there's a football game on, or maybe for Easter.
March Madness.
March Madness is coming up here.
Yes.
So you lay around and then you eat some more, and it's just not very healthy. It doesn't make you feel great. And then you're kind of miserable during the day, and then it's not just that day; it's a couple days after where you're still feeling the effects of it.
Have the food hangover, the sugar hangover.
Good morning, Vanda. Thanks for tuning in. Vanda's also a part of our monthly membership. She's with us for our 21-day CTP group as well. So Vanda's been with us for a long time. Thanks so much for your support, Vanda. You are awesome.
So when you are traveling, pack snacks.
So
eat before you go and pack snacks.
Yeah, the first one was eat before you go, and then when we're moving on to packing snacks. Dorothy, you're a good snack packer.
I am a very good snack packer. It's my job.
Do you have any rules of thumb with your packing, especially when you're going to family, for example? What are you packing, or what are you thinking about in advance?
For like car snacks?
Sure.
Car snacks. So this can go, it doesn't even have to be for the holidays. It can be even if you're just having a short drive. Always, always, always have snacks with you so you don't, because once we reach that hangry stage, we will eat
over.
It's over. Like, we'll eat anything. Because it's like a survival mode our body goes into, and it doesn't usually click with our brain to make the healthiest choice when we are that hungry. So always have snacks with you. Snacks that you can fit in your purse, for example, fruit, apples fit nicely into your purse. Granola bars fit nicely into your purse. Trail mix is easy to drag around with you, just in a little container. You don't need that much, right? You need about a quarter of a cup to a third of a cup of almonds or nuts, and then you throw in a little bit of dried fruit. Like, it doesn't take up much space. So I'd have to say that's my top road snacks, is granola bars and fruit and trail mix, because they're so easy to transport. If you're buying granola bars, just make sure you look at the ingredients. And if it's a huge, long list of ingredients, not the best choice. So
Stay away from those.
Yeah, so look for granola bars that has about 5 ingredients. Ish.
Yeah, the least amount of ingredients, the better.
Yes.
And then I think from there, like a smoothie is a big one for us, like grabbing a smoothie and packing that, because you can have a smoothie in the morning, but let's say, for example, you make time to have your breakfast in the morning instead of having your smoothie, because you can't take, like, if you're going to have eggs, toast, sausage, whatever you may have, if you're not going to be able to take that with you in the car, but you can eat that before you leave, and then you can take the smoothie with you for use it as an extra snack meal on the go.
That's right. Smoothies are awesome. Traveling companions. Another thing is water. Stay hydrated throughout the day. You know, and hydration always comes the day before. So the day before you're going on your holiday for your big meal, your big Easter meal, well, we should always be hydrated. But spay.
That's a new one.
Pay. That's the word I was looking for.
Gosh.
Spay, pay. That's the word.
I don't know what she's doing.
I was looking for my word. Pay close attention to the amount of water you are drinking the day before. Hey, Aaron just popped in.
Good morning, Aaron. Happy Easter to you, too. Aaron, we're going live again. Aaron, I'm going to come to the tire shop, and we're going to do a live video there. Just like this. We're going to sit down and chop it up. Aaron's awesome. He's, I think, a staple in the community. And every time we do something with Aaron, he pretty much goes viral. He's like a
Mr. Popular.
He's like a celebrity in Olds. So thanks for your support, Aaron, with everything that we do. And we certainly love everything you're doing there at the tire shop. So today we're talking about being healthy during Easter weekend. And it's a challenging time because there's all kinds of treats. There's extra food that we're not used to. For me, I think one of the tips I would like to mention is fermented food. And we talk about kombucha on a regular basis. Excuse me. We talk about fermented foods on a regular basis. And I think especially at this time, like we recommend having, like we have kombucha, homemade kombucha every single morning. Okay, Dorothy's gonna grab the jar, and I'm just pulling this up here. Vanda said, "Happy Easter to you, Vanda."
It's a little empty, Drew. We need a refill. Drew is the kombucha maker, so this is one of our Finnish kombuchas, and it's delicious. We have it actually. We put some of our homemade juice in it, and that's why it's pinkish.
Yeah. So that it's just flavored, and we've talked about these before. We've done workshops, and if you want to learn how to make your own, we have a 2-part video workshop. So it's trueformlife.com/how to make kombucha, and so that would be for me. Like, so we drink some kombucha every morning, and that just gets our body ready for food, and it gets our body in a more alkaline state, and it prepares your gut and your intestines and everything going on down there to be ready for food and be able to digest food properly. So I think a lot of times we run into digestive issues. We don't do things like maybe you could start off with lemon water, for example, but we highly suggest looking to kombucha. So for example, those of us so we have Mandy, Darlene, Louise, Vanda, so many of us in the CTP, and I say CTP, I mean complete truth protein. It's on my shirt here. We sent out a meal plan, and that's when in the meal plan we have kombucha every morning, so people are more ready for breakfast. So now, when it comes to food that's hard to digest, especially like if you're going out for a big dinner with friends and family, you know you're going to have some hard to digest foods. That's a great time to have kombucha if you're not going to have it every morning. And then another time is during Easter, for example. If Easter's coming up and you know you're going to be having some hard to digest foods, then it's a great time to have kombucha. Yeah. I'm going to let you ride shotgun here for a second. I'll be right back. I'm going to take our little guest here.
Okay.
Come on.
Oh, I moved into the shotgun seat too. Look at this. So we're talking about, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about Easter nutrition tips. We went over raw chocolate, so check out our website, trueformlife.com. Under our recipes tab, we have an excellent raw chocolate recipe. We'll actually post that in the comments for easier access to that. We talked about bringing snacks when you're traveling. So traveling, sometimes we have to travel far to get to families. And make sure that you eat in the morning before you leave and bring snacks before you go. Even if you're not traveling, make sure that you wake up and you stick to your routine. So you're still eating. You're eating breakfast, lunch as well. And then Drew was just talking about the importance of fermented foods. So make sure that, a big meal's coming up. Lots of times we're eating things that we maybe not normally consume. So fermented foods is going to play a big role as well. I'd like to now get into the actual meal. So, a lot of times, and give you some tips about how to I don't want to say get through, but make better choices for the actual meal. So we talked about preparing for the meal and eating before and having fermented foods. And a lot of times too, when we arrive to families' houses, before the big meal, there's little meals, like appetizers out on the tables, for example, and candies all over the place. So try your best to not have as many of those little treats to the meal, I suppose.
Like appetizers and such?
Appetizers and stuff. Eat before you go, and then when you get there, you're not hangry and won't just eat everything that's in front of you.
Yeah, it's important because if you don't have anything to eat before you go, then you're like, that's why I said it's so important to have breakfast. I think breakfast sets your day up for success, but if you have nothing to eat, and then you get there and you're like, appetizers, like you said earlier, you'll have anything. Like,
yes.
You'll have the appetizers, then it comes to dinner, the dinner time, and you just filled up on appetizers and drinks, and you're like, yes. I need a minute. I'll get back to you on that.
Yes. And then when it comes to the actual meal, like sitting down to the meal, we have a few, I guess, staples that we stick by, and that is to take a small piece of meat, if you do eat meat, and take a small piece of meat, take a small portion of carbs, and then just load up on veggies. And a nice thing to do first is to load up, have a big plate of just the veggies first, even if you can, and then go back for those other things like carbs, for example. Like when I say carbs, I mean like the mashed potatoes and the buns and, all of those things. If you can avoid the buns, that's even better. But, and go back later and have a small portion of meat, maybe your carbs, and then veggies.
Okay, let me jump in here. So when Dorothy says load up, she means like, so if you were to divide your plate, the easiest way to go about it is half your plate should be veggies. So it should be the greens, for example. Yes. And then that's half your plate. So that's what she means when she says load up on veggies. And then you have 2 quarters left, 50%. So you got your meat, which is usually your fist size, or your palm here, or your fist, like that is how a lot of people measure. We say 4 ounces. I think we run into issues, like in Alberta, for example, our steaks are ginormous.
Gigantic.
Probably the biggest steaks.
Size of your head.
Biggest steaks in the world. Alberta and Texas. So
that was funny. You should laugh.
I'm talking here. She's like, laugh at me.
I'm talking to you.
So we run into the issues when we have like a big giant piece of meat, for example, or steak instead, because that becomes difficult to digest depending on what other food, what other foods you have with it. And it's called food combining. So we want to help our body digest with proper combinations of food. So the portion of meat size is important, and carbs, of course. So then we don't really pay attention to like the carbs. So the appetizers, many times there's carbs in there, and then many times there's carbs. We have sweet potatoes, for example. Then we have mashed potatoes. Then we have gravy. Then we have a roll. So those all add up. So if we don't pay attention to everything in that category, then we run into issues. So cut that quarter out for your carbs and have that, and that's going to help you out, help you stay healthy for the actual meal.
And another point about carbs too is if you can pick those healthier carbs. For example, Drew mentioned sweet potatoes instead of those white, starchy kind of fast digesting carbs. It'll be even better. So if you can stick to sweet potatoes, yams, and kind of pass on the white potatoes and the buns, that's even better.
Yeah, I think it's all about, we talk about moderation a bit, but I think if we're like, oh, everything in moderation, like I don't love that phrase, everything in moderation, because if you moderate yourself in the morning, then in the afternoon, then in the evening, it becomes a little cheat meals of a big picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That add up.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say everything in moderation. I would say pay attention to what you're doing. Like pay attention to what you're doing and do your best to have some control over that, I suppose. Because when we look at the big picture, like we work so hard. For me, I'm like, in our groups, for example, we see how hard people work. Like we see their meals, we're posting pictures, we see how hard people work, and we see the results. They're feeling great. They're showing the dropping inches, and then we have this weekend. So it was like maybe it started Thursday night, and then Friday, it's Good Friday, and then Saturday, maybe everyone's getting together, and there's like a pre-Easter meal, and then there's Easter Sunday, and then there's leftovers on Monday. So it's not one day or one meal; it's like an entire weekend, and then depending on how much food lasts for the rest of the week, the next week or two.
That's so true.
So Dorothy mentioned their carbs real quick. We would like to see you guys have slow digesting carbs. So these are usually the darker carbs. So rolls, for example, they're not the best choice, but if you could pick one, try to go with the brown, right? The darker.
You could share one with somebody as well instead of having a full one.
Right? You could share. I was saying you could have the darker color bun, so like whole wheat or whole grain bun, or you could buy some, or you could bring your own. And what else? Oh, sweet potatoes. Those are darker. Rice, for example, like if rice is an option, like darker colored rice, like whole grain rice, brown rice, wild rice, instead of white rice or white potatoes. Those are better options.
And then there's quinoa as well. We have a fabulous quinoa recipe for stuffing, the quinoa stuffing recipe on our website as well. So that's a fantastic recipe to replace your regular stuffing if you're having turkey or whatever.
Yeah, you could go to trueformlife.com and search quinoa stuffing recipe, or it's probably trueformlife.com/quinoa stuffing recipe.
It's fantastic. Everybody loves that one. So easy to make as well. I think it's even easier to make than traditional stuffing.
And it's gluten-free.
Yes.
And a lot of people struggle with finding gluten-free stuffing or gluten-free options during this time. So that could definitely help as well.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about alcohol for a minute?
Sure.
Everyone loves when we talk about this. So a lot of times, too, what adds in our digestion discomfort. So we talked about having discomfort because we don't eat all day and then we eat a huge gigantic meal. We talked about digestion discomfort because of the kinds of food choices or the food combining. But another thing that would cause us digestion discomfort is what we're drinking. So try your best to stick with water if you can. If you have a glass of wine or a beer or something, just try to keep it minimal because, Thanksgiving or a holiday can last all day. Oftentimes we arrive to family in the morning or in the early afternoon, and then we stay till the evening, and we are sipping on alcohol all day, which will, cause dehydration as well as won't help the waistline, right? As well, because it adds on lots of extra unwanted,
discomfort.
Digestion discomfort. So it all adds up. But I think with alcohol, the biggest thing is the how am I going to say, dehydration, right?
Yeah. We can tell when we're dehydrated because the next day we're usually so thirsty and we can't get enough. We can't quench that thirst. So that's how you can tell you're dehydrated from the day before. But that carries on for a couple of days. We're rarely dehydrated for a couple hours or even for a day. So, and we can feel, you can feel it in your body, our bodies are made up in large part of water. So we need to keep flushing out toxins. We need to keep replacing our cells and feel hydrated, feel fantastic and hydrated. And we know when we're feeling great, it has a lot to do with hydration. So when you're doing things like drinking throughout the holidays, that makes it more challenging to stay dehydrated.
Anything else?
Well, I wasn't done with that in particular. I think that we feel like we have to drink. For example, everyone has a beer or a wine, and everyone knows what it's like. Family members are like, "Come on, have another glass," and you're like, "No, I'm okay. Well, how about now?" So I think it really helps if you tell them in advance, "Oh, maybe I'll just have one, and that'll be enough." And then if they ask, just say no. It's okay to say no. I think that's important because, I always felt when I used a couple of years ago, I'm more comfortable with these things now, but I always felt like you had to order a drink, for example. So at a restaurant, water is okay. Or in the same thing, and I'm sure it was the same thing, everyone's going out, many times you go out with friends, for example, for lunch, and there's 5 or 6 people that are having a beer or a different type of alcoholic beverage, and it's okay to be no, I'm going to pass on the water. For me, I rarely drink, so I'm not going to have a beer at lunch and then try to stay awake for the rest of the day, because often we're working late into the evening. So, just doesn't fit my lifestyle. And if it doesn't fit your lifestyle, I don't want you to, you shouldn't feel like you have to just because everyone else is as well.
That's a good point. Great point. Another thing I thought of while Drew was rambling on there was about if you're working on a particular goal or if you're following a particular program, for example, there's lots of members in our 21-day challenge right now. It's okay to let family know that, and you actually should tell family that you're working on a particular goal or you're working on this program, and it's okay to share that with family. I think sometimes we are a little nervous to share because if we have a particular goal, then, oh dear, what if we don't reach the goal, right? We don't want to share. But they should know what we're up to. And then I think it offers even more accountability as well if they do know.
Yeah, I would take that a step further and say we have to tell them. Like, we have to tell our family that we're living a healthy lifestyle, that we're making healthy choices. Because if we don't, it's like keeping them in the dark, which they feel left out or they feel like almost offended. So if you say, no, I'm going to pass on dessert or I'm going to pass on the drinks, then, and if they know, then maybe they'll stop offering it to you, or maybe there'll be a healthier option. But I think by not sharing that or not making that public, and we know like what it's like. We know that you don't want to fail, or you don't want everyone to know that you're a failure if you fall off, or if someone sees you eating something that you shouldn't eat. But like, I think even for me, speaking for myself here, like, it helps keep me on track knowing that this is what we do as a profession.
Yes.
So even sometimes like, oh, I'd like to have that. And I know that my body's not going to enjoy that. And I'm probably going to enjoy the taste for about 4 minutes.
And then he'll be, oh.
Then I'm going to be like, that's a big mistake. But it helps knowing, like, in the community, like, people are going to look at your grocery cart. When you're at your family's house, people are going to watch what you eat. And I think that that's okay. That offers an extra accountability instead of trying to hide everything and not let people know what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that it can be difficult. Like, it is difficult sometimes, especially if there's some people not as supportive or, come on, one dessert won't hurt, right? Yeah. But I think if you're consistently persistent,
I like it.
Consistently persistent and know this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm living, then eventually, you say no enough times or you explain enough times that they'll get it.
Yeah. And you just got to stick to it. Yeah. Like, you just got to keep saying no thanks. But again, if you go back to the beginning and are like, no, this is not what I want to do, or not the direction I want to go with Easter weekend or holiday weekend, then it'd be much easier for them to stop continually harassing you.
Yes. Drew, you brought up dessert there real quick. And I wanted to just talk about dessert because it can be one of the more challenging parts of the meal, because usually there's like 15 desserts to choose from.
Yeah, before we get into that, can we talk about CTP real quick?
Sure. You want me to grab it?
Yeah. So we're just going to show you the CTP bags that we have here. So we'll get into dessert before we wrap things up for the show here. But I want to tell you, we talked about CTP, the CTP group we have going on. When we say CTP, again, we mean Complete Truth Protein. I have it on my shirt here, so you guys on Instagram can see it. I think it's hiding behind the computer there for you guys on Facebook.
I don't know. I think they can see it.
When I'm down here, they can't see.
Oh.
So we're on, those of you on Instagram, we're on Facebook.com/TrueFormLife. So we're going live on Facebook as well. And Facebookers, we're on Instagram. And that's just our business account is under Drew Tadia. So we have our two different versions here. So Dorothy, this is your specialty.
Yes, so the gray bag here is for baking. And all it is quinoa and parts. That's the two ingredients. And it's gluten-free. So it's a nice alternative to flour in baking. And what the great part about it is that you don't have to mess around with conversions. Like a lot of other gluten flours, it's like, oh, if it's 1 cup of regular flour, then it's 0.367 of this flour. No, gluten-free flour. But with Complete Truth Protein, what I love most is that it's just a 1-to-1 conversion. So if you have 1 cup of all-purpose flour, then you can put 1 cup of this gray bag, Complete Truth Protein. So it's what we call our original blend, because this one we created first. Now, this one could go in smoothies, but we have this other bag Drew's going to explain that's better in smoothies, but you could use this gray bag in smoothies as well.
If you're going to do both, you can use both.
You can use both.
Well, stick to this one for baking. It works out fantastically. Yes. It rises. We have a lot of people in our CTP group that are just trying it for the first time. And they're like, can't believe how well this turns out. And I think a lot of people struggle with baking on a regular basis baking help with healthy types of flour. So they're always experimenting, they're always trying, and they're always failing because they're not meant for the recipes that you're trying.
Right.
And Dorothy's put together a long list of delicious recipes that are super easy and turn out great.
Yeah, you can find those on our website, trueformlife.com. All the recipes are in our recipe tab. If you're looking for a particular recipe, just go over to the search bar and type in muffins or type in cookies or whatever you're looking for, and then a bunch of recipes will pop up for that.
Or we have a drop down that says recipes.
Yes.
Let me talk about CTP for smoothies. So this one only has 4 ingredients. So we believe that you should be putting foods in your body that you can read and pronounce. So we have quinoa, hemp hearts, maca, and stevia. So only 4 ingredients. We put very little stevia in just to change the flavor a bit. And someone like Mandy, for example, if I'm not sure if she's still tuning in, but she was watching earlier, and she said that this tastes so much better in smoothies. So that's kind of why we have 2 different products for 2 different purposes. So if you've tried the original in smoothies and it wasn't really your thing, try this one because that's what it's meant for.
Yeah.
Maca gives you a natural energy boost, and it's something that we highly recommend, especially in the morning. It gives you a little boost in the morning, and it really energizes your smoothies. So I thought you were going to say something there.
Nope.
So this is the green bag for smoothies, and we do ship wherever you're at, and then we also sell here locally, and we also deliver. So if you're interested in energizing your smoothies a bit, we could definitely help you out with some CTP. So we were going to talk about, we did have a few things here. I was going to do a demo, but I think maybe we'll wait for another time.
Okay.
I was going to do a tea demo for you guys, but we'll, I think
Specialty.
we'll do that another time. We did have Jordan jump here on Instagram. Good morning, Jordan. Thanks for checking us out.
So the last thing we want to touch on before we leave you guys this morning is we wanted to talk about dessert, because that often is, like I was saying earlier, that's often a difficult place because there's usually like 15 desserts on the table. And, you know, Drew and I aren't going to say, like, don't have anything. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but a good way to tackle the dessert dilemma is to have the buddy system. So Drew and I kind of have a buddy system where we share a dessert, and we take our time. We weigh the options, and we look at all the desserts, and we usually pick one. So we'll pick one and we'll share it.
Oh, we each pick one.
Yes, you pick one, I pick one. Yeah. And then we share.
Cut it in half.
And then share.
You share, so you're not having 2 full pieces of, or sorry. Yeah,
whatever it is.
Yeah.
A lot of times too, we'll bring our own. So we will make a dessert that is healthier, and we'll bring it with us so that we know there's something healthy there. So for example, at Thanksgiving, we made we made.
I was the tester.
That was a dig on him.
The tester is a very important role.
So we made little, what were they? Pumpkin cheesecakes out of cashews instead of dairy. So they were dairy-free pumpkin cheesecake, little bites of heaven. So then we knew that when it came time to dessert, we didn't have to worry because we had something healthy already.
Yeah, so bringing a dessert or bringing something healthy in the end, I think at the end of the day, usually when it comes to desserts, they come in later in the evening. That's where a lot of the alcoholic beverages come out. There's an extra thing of what do they bring out? Like appetizers that weren't eaten before. So it's just little snack foods that aren't all that healthy. So if you bring your own dessert, you know that there's going to be something for you to enjoy at the end of the evening while everyone else is having dessert.
And I just thought of something that's funny is that usually the people hosting, whoever's hosting, they don't want all this leftovers food. So if you eat a bit earlier, like 4 or 5-ish, then around 8, they're bringing out more food is because they don't want to be stuck with all this food. And it's oh, please, no more food, right? So that's sometimes a dilemma too, right? Is not more food.
Jordan said, I love you too. Everyone needs to trust in your recipes and tips. No questions. You two are awesome.
Aw, thanks, Jordan.
Thanks so much, Jordan. You're awesome too. We're looking forward to working with you in the future. And I think that when it comes to having that food there and like that extra temptation, I think it's a struggle, like a constant struggle to have that in front of you. So that's why it's important to have those healthy tips that we suggested about mealtime. So making better choices, because if you have like, I think it just opens your chance to having success. So if you have better choices, instead of having like 4 rolls and half a plate of mashed potatoes and a giant piece of meat, for example, and then from there you move on to dessert after you can pull yourself up off the couch, then you have like a whole pie to yourself, and you hate yourself for the next week.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've all been there. And no one wants to go back there. So if you make these small suggestions or take these small tips that we've offered, I think it's going to make a big difference in the big picture.
Yeah, and make sure you stick to your exercise routine as well. Throughout the holidays, don't just let it go to the side and be like, it's Easter, not going to exercise, right? So make sure that you make time for yourself to get your workouts in as well.
And remember that it's not just Sunday or whenever you have your dinner. I think everyone has dinner. Like sometimes you go to Sunday with one family or one side of the family. Monday's another one.
Yeah.
Maybe Tuesday, because you have people are sending you leftovers, so you're having those leftover. You're having desserts for a couple days after, or you're having those like, for whatever reason, there's always like a mountain of mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
So you're having mashed potatoes all week long. So I think that becomes a struggle, because it's not just one day, it's going to be all week.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Amber's in. Hey, Amber.
Amber said, I got to move this phone here. Can you read that?
Amber says, it makes it easier when you're intolerant, because often I can't have it anyway unless I make my own dessert. When you know you'll suffer for eating something, temptation goes away. That's so true. And, I think sometimes even when we aren't intolerant, we still suffer because maybe we've eaten too much of it, or maybe it's, something that, like, our body knows. Our body knows when we've eaten something that doesn't belong. It'll definitely tell us.
Yeah, I think we all kind of suffer at different levels.
Right.
Like someone like Amber, we have some other people in our group that may be more intolerant to gluten, for example.
Dairy is a big one too.
Dairy's a big one. So there's there's just different levels, I suppose. And Amber, you might deal with it more at a deeper level than someone else.
Average person. Yeah.
But I mean, I think we all know what it's like to have like a sugar hangover, or to lay around and feel like bloated, or have gas for a couple of days, and you're like, I shouldn't have that extra dessert. So I think we all deal with it for sure, Amber. That's a very good point, and I don't think any of us want to. So do your best to make healthy choices now instead of dealing with the side effects afterwards.
Right. Yep.
There we are. And I just wanted to mention there before Amber's question, Dorothy was talking about sticking to a fitness routine. For me, or for us, I suppose, creating those healthy habits is something that we work towards on a regular basis. Like, we work so hard to get up and have your kombucha and have your breakfast and whatever your routine looks like. And exercise is a big one. Like, we work hard to create healthy exercise routines. So if you're taking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like, it all adds up. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, when you start to be like, I got to drag myself back to working out, wherever that may be. It could be in your house or it could be at the gym. When you drag yourself back to it, it's so challenging to get back into it. So instead of putting yourself through all that and feel like you're starting all over again, stick to your workouts, stick to your routines, because, make them a priority, because it's going to make your life that much easier.
That's right. And I was just thinking about our mental perspective around vacation and working out. Usually it's like, I'm on vacation, right? I'm not going to work out, and I'm not going to stick to my plan. And I don't know where that kind of mindset came from, but it's all about changing your mindset to it being your lifestyle. So this is what I do, right? I work out and I eat healthy all the time, right? So that it doesn't become one of those mindsets where, when you go on a holiday for a week and you don't exercise at all, you eat whatever you want, you come back, like Drew was saying, it's so hard to get back on it. And just sticking to it no matter what.
And then you're 10 pounds heavier.
Right.
And you're like, what's going on? We all know it's easier to gain weight than it is to lose weight. So we've had some people like come back from a cruise and be like, I just gained 10 pounds or I just gained 15 pounds. Like, so like that's challenging. Like you put yourself, you kind of dig yourself a hole. And I think that if we pay more attention to these regular routines and sticking with them instead of being like, I'm on vacation, I don't need to do that. Like I feel like you should look forward to working out because it can be enjoyable. It makes you feel better. It gives you energy. So if you have that mindset of this is what we do all the time, then it doesn't change regardless of what time of year it is or where you're at.
I find it really helpful to think about after, like the effects after your workout. So a lot of times going into a workout, maybe we're tired from the day at work. Maybe we don't feel like it. Maybe it's cold outside. We don't want to go outside. But if you think about how you're going to feel after, I'm going to have more energy. I'm going to sleep better. I'm going to feel better. My confidence is going to increase because you've worked out, right? I think that helps to get you there. And once you're there, you just gotta do it, right? Like getting there is the hardest part.
Yeah. I just want to read a couple of comments here. I think it's Jordan on Instagram. Jordan said, good point, Amber. It's amazing when you listen to your body and give it the best option so you feel the best. Why would you want to feel bad?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Good point, yes.
Do what you have to so you can feel the best. No question, Jordan. I think it takes time. Oh, Jordan also said it takes years to build healthy habits, days to lose them.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important to stick to those healthy routines. So very good point there, Jordan. Thanks for sharing that with us. Because like we're working hard for these healthy routines, and then if you just fall off for a moment, it's so hard to get back on. So I think if we have that mindset of this is what I do on a regular basis, then it doesn't matter, again, where you are, what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Look, we got Dallas popped in here on Facebook.
Hey, Dallas.
Good morning, Dallas. So
we're leaving now, Dallas.
the last thing I wanted to mention was guilt. I suppose like guilt is, when I think about guilt is like when you have like when you do something that's not so healthy or something that you don't enjoy that causes you guilt. You do it in that moment. So if you eat an extra piece of pie, you've eaten that piece of pie.
Done.
And,
right.
And it could be over with. Like you may have eaten that piece of pie and then you've done it and it's over with. But if you relive that and if you feel guilty for days, weeks, or possibly months later, you're still eating that pie. And you've continued to eat that pie for months later. So I think it's kind of funny, but I think that's how we can look at things. Like if you have an argument, for example, you're still having that argument.
That is so true.
Unless you let it go, unless you let it go, you're still having that argument. You're still eating that piece of pie. So eat it and move on, because if you carry on with it, it's just going to continue to weigh you down.
That's true. I love how you said that. You're still eating that pie.
Stop eating that pie.
But if you just, I ate the pie, you accept it, that's what I did, but make a plan or make the choice to move on and to, go. Let it go, then it's going to be much better. You're going to be much better off.
Stop eating that pie. That's funny to me.
That's funny. Or even like you were saying earlier, Drew, about sometimes we go on those, well, not we, but sometimes people go on those cruises or those all-inclusives and they eat their face off for a week. Then you come back and you feel guilty for 2 months because you gained 10 pounds. You're still eating on that cruise.
That's right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, just get on with it and leave the guilt behind.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, we want to wish you a happy Easter. Safe travels, depending on where you're at. I think weather's kind of crazy all over the world right now.
What's going on?
And for us, there's literally a snowstorm, and it's almost April 1st.
So the kids are going to have to do their Easter egg hunt in the snow this year, because where we are in Olds, there's always a huge Easter egg hunt in the park for the kids, and it's a big community thing. Like, all the kids come out for it. But anyway, I'm thinking they're going to have to do Easter egg hunt in snowsuits this year. But maybe they'll take it indoors. I have no idea. But anyway, it's just kind of funny.
Kind of funny. We're stuck here in the snow.
In the snow.
What is this? What's going on? Sorry, guys. Oh, Dallas said it's snowing here too.
Yeah. Boo.
And then Amber said, "Make the eggs white." I don't think anyone would find them if they made the eggs white.
I think that's the point. She was saying.
Yeah.
You'd find them in the spring. Oh, it is spring.
It is spring.
Oh, you find them when the snow melts. Maybe July.
Summertime. Let us know in the comments what you guys are doing for Easter. And yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be nice to know what you guys are doing for Easter. We have a couple links that we're going to put up. Amber said exactly. You guys are on the same page there.
Yes.
Amber, we're going to meet up with you here soon today for some CTP.
Yes.
So thanks for your support within our monthly membership group. Amber actually made bread in a bread maker for the first time.
First time that anyone's made bread with CTP, so we were super excited because I'm not really a bread maker myself, so.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool that we had Amber take some pictures and show what it was like to see what it's like to make a loaf of bread, for example, with CTP.
Yes, it was very cool.
Yeah, we learned so much from our members. We learned more from you guys, I feel, that we teach you. So, yeah, that's what we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. She's trying all CTP in the bread today, so that's even more exciting. So Amber's her first trial, she did. I'm not quite sure. Maybe you can type it out, Amber, or let us know. But I think she did half and half, like half regular flour and half CTP. And today she says she's going to try all CTP. So that's exciting. Very cool.
That's always a really nice transition with CTP. Is your first time to do half and half. See how it goes, and then the next time try all of CTP. It's always a nice way to go.
Yeah.
Transition mode.
For sure. Jordan said have an excellent, he said, I don't know where I got excellent from, had a great weekend. Jordan said have a great weekend. You too, Jordan. Happy Easter down there, wherever you are. Jordan travels all over the place. So happy Easter to you. Happy Easter to everyone else. We so much appreciate your support. We're here every Friday. It's pretty cool to see you guys come in and ask questions and leave your comments. It's nice to sit here and hang out with you guys on a Friday morning.
Yes, we always look forward to our live video Friday mornings.
Mm-hmm. They're a blast. Mm-hmm. So if you guys need any CTP, let us know. We do deliver in and around the community. They can see it.
I just wanted to dance.
Oh, I just feel like dancing. And yeah, we'll see. If you guys have any questions, let us know. And again, we appreciate your support. So have a happy Easter, safe travels wherever you're going.
Not just a happy Easter. Have a happy Easter.
Oh my gosh.
Funny, happy.
I think we got it. I think we all understood the happy
Easter.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. We will see you later online in different groups we have going on or wherever we may get you.
And we want to hear Drew say happy Easter.
Oh my gosh.
Say it, Drew.
Have a happy Easter.
There we go. Happy Easter, everybody. And we will catch you next Friday. And if not, before then, on Facebook.
That's right. All right, see you guys.
See you. Happy Easter.
You have to add that in one more time.
Of course I did.